Hello, hello, and welcome to the Green Door Life's Elevated Frequency podcast. My name is Shannon Morse, and I'm sitting here with my lovely co-founder and co-host, Lisa Kirby. And we have our special guest today, which is the lovely Chess Edwards. We're here today to essentially open up our conversation of awareness and awakening and study and being in that place of peace. And I've had what's a really lovely word inside of your emotional vocabulary, Jess? I've had a really delicious and dynamically colorful opportunity to be in these deep conversations with Chess, as we have recently been exchanging our own experiences and services. So we've been holding space for each other in our own quote unquote lanes. And so in that sense, I've been working with you, Chess, inside of your nutrition and movement journey, and you have been working with me inside of my awakening and awareness journey, consciousness journey. Yeah. So welcome, Chess. We're so happy you're here.
Welcome, welcome.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Lisa and Shannon, for having me here. I'm really excited about the opportunity to, play and explore and just keep expanding these conversations about how we can know ourselves, as fully as possible. So thank you.
Thank you. And there's so many ways that we can start this conversation, but I feel like maybe what will be most natural, especially for our audience right now, is what has the experience been like for you so far going through this nutrition and movement discovery experience with the Green Door?
Oh, perfect. Okay. So thank you. It's been really beautiful. It's been really fascinating. I just love how so many, awarenesses keep opening up and deeper insights keep opening up. And as you and I have been discovering, Shannon, the parallels between a journey of expanding consciousness and a journey of being more attuned to the body and the mind, and how this whole vehicle operates has been really, I love that word, delicious. It has been absolutely delicious. I think one of the things that really has made a tremendous impact on me is the success that I'm experiencing, that I'm enjoying in this work, and that the success is coming because I'm actually getting educated. I'm actually getting educated in all the different dynamics of nutrition, fitness, how they work together, what are the components, how does it break down. I did not know what a macronutrient was. I was scared to death of carbohydrates. That my myth was, if I eat a carbohydrate, that's why I'm gaining weight. That's the issue. I didn't know about timing of meals. I love this one. This is a fun discovery. I eat healthy as far as the quality of food that I eat. So I thought if you were eating healthy quality food, you could really eat as much as you want. And how could that turn into fat? It's healthy food.
Yes.
So that was just revolutionary to my understanding of if you're putting in one meal, if you're eating over what your body can actually utilize, it's going to store it as fat. I don't care if it's lettuce, So, and then the where that really gets fun and juicy for me is our discussions. We've been talking about the parallels about about consciousness, the journey of consciousness, and the journey of self-knowing how the body works and how the mind works with that, our nutrition and fitness and goal setting. My work is primarily about helping people to awaken as the essential nature of their being. In other words, the self that transcends the personal experience, the self beyond the ego story. And when we talk about essential nature, it means the essential aspect of us. And essential means it can't be taken away. It's essential to what and who we are. So we're starting to talk about soul and consciousness. And soul simply being an individuated expression of the one consciousness of love, if you will, of peace, just the presence, the beingness. So that's a very nutshell of what I do. The analogy I'm loving here is that before I started working with the Green Door, I was trying to lose weight because I'm 62 and suddenly I couldn't eat the way I used to and not gain weight. And I was winging it to lose weight. I'll cut carbs completely. I just won't have sugars at night. I'll increase my cardio because cardio's got to be the best way to burn fat. You know, I was totally winging it. I'm a smart guy. There's the internet. I'll do some research and I'll start intermittent fasting. Except for as I discovered in working with you, Shannon, I wasn't really intermittent fasting. You know, I'll do all these things, and things changed. I gained more weight. So
The story is getting better and better.
Lisa's gonna love this.
So good.
So then I'm working with you, and I realized, oh, I needed to become a student of this. I needed to study nutrition and fitness and how it all works together and the nuance and the play and the dynamics. And we've been working together 3 weeks, 4 weeks now, and I've lost 10 pounds already. So, and feeling in my vitality, that was a big part of the goal, was just to feel my vitality again. At 62, I was like, whoa, way too early to start losing my sense of vitality. So study. And then when I look at my work, I realize it's the same thing. What do I keep saying to my students? Which is, you actually have to study the dynamics of how consciousness works, how awareness works, how ego gets in the way. What is ego? What is conditioning, programming? How does it operate? How does the ego get in the way of your spiritual journey? Have you set your spiritual knowing as a centerpiece of your life? You know, so that requires study. And if they're not studying, they're winging it. And they're yo-yoing. Like my weight would go up and then it would start to go down and then it would go up again. I was yo-yoing with my weight. People are yo-yoing with their spirituality. Oh, I got it. I think I got it. And then something in life happens, it triggers them. And all of a sudden they're like, God, I was feeling so peaceful. Now I'm back I just feel like I'm back at ground zero. Why? And my answer is always the same. Because you haven't actually been devoted to and studying this aspect of you as a human spiritual being.
Oh, it's so good.
Yeah.
I thank you so much. There was some really fun insights that were coming in as you were sharing that experience. And I want to share a reflection, which is, you know, Lisa and I have gone through this 12-week journey with thousands of individuals now. And what's so unique and beautiful about this is that the program that we're sharing, the framework and the science is the same. It doesn't change. So what we get to see around it and rising with each individual is their own stories and their own beliefs and their own myths. Right. And so what was so incredible about you, Chess, and what I really want to highlight to other people in the incredible importance of knowing thyself from this consciousness perspective is that I was able to witness you go, oh yeah, I have this story that foam rolling is useless. And
yeah,
I was
waste my time on it. Come on, let's do some workouts. Let's get some strength training in.
But you wouldn't identify it. You wouldn't go through the back door, right? You wouldn't go, well, do you really think I need to do that? Or, you were just like, there is a story here and it says this. It's not what I actually believe. It's not what I am. I am witnessing that there is this thing. It's standing here in the way of me doing the actual thing because I don't know. I'm seeing through a myth or a belief or a filter. And the majority of our current awareness level for most of us, I feel, or my experience is that it takes us a lot of re-navigating to bring awareness to the story. That more often, most of us who don't have that base spiritual practice are attached to the story. And it was so clear that you were like, yo, I got the story and it's saying this. And I'm like, great, let's talk about it. Let's demystify it. And it was so easy, gone. So good.
Once I love this. In this work, once we recognize that just because our mind is saying it doesn't make it true. It is so powerful to get that witness perspective. And so through meditation and through self-inquiry, who am I really? What is the essential nature of me when this stops? Will I still exist? And if so, is that aspect of me, consciousness, present now? And so, and then we start to learn that is actually the unwavering stillness of being, the witness perspective that is witnessing all manner of story and emotion and things that are coming and going. It's so much easier when we can step back and go, wow, my story isn't me, but man, it's powerful. It's powerful. And if I name it as just what it is, oh, that's just activity of mind. I've got this activity of mind that happens. And do I want to be lured by that? Do I want to be hooked by that? Do I want to live my life on the basis of just my conditioned activity of mind? Hell no. I've learned by now that just does nothing but get in my way. So yes, it's been so easy to work with you in our conversations and you'll even say it sometimes to me. You'll say, because you can, you'll say, okay, hold on, carbohydrates. You're saying, you're still avoiding carbohydrates at night. Do you maybe have a story around carbohydrates? And I love that question because I go, oh, yeah, actually, I do. Yeah, let's talk about that.
No, it's been awesome. It saves so much time.
Oh, it does.
Oh my gosh, Lise, I was just waiting for you to hear some of these discoveries because, Lisa and I will sometimes hear different individuals, get confronted with the story and really have a hard time moving past the belief. Because some of the times those beliefs are just keeping us safe, or, so we think they're keeping the idea of self safe. And
the idea of self-safe. Yes.
And so we will sometimes, have to move through, okay, well, how do we hold the space for this belief to arise and then to look at it and go, does this still belong here? And does this actually apply to this moment? And so I've been waiting for Lisa to hear our conversations because I can only imagine she would appreciate it. Yes.
Yeah. I think it's so relevant in the work that we do because it's like step one in working with people to rehaul their health and learn about nutrition as a student. I love that perspective because it's such a better explanation of what we're teaching. Like it's not a diet. It's truly, we're educating everyone about, these are the basics about nutrition that we all really should have learned when we were children. But what we find inside the program is that some people are confronted with those beliefs. And a lot of the times we don't know that they were even there. that was kind of like my initial experience when I learned about nutrition. I was like, holy crap, how long has that belief been there? And how long has that story been there? And I've been repeating that over and over. And so I love the parallels that you both are drawing, that you can come from these different modalities and approaches, but still find, higher consciousness and awareness through these like self-study processes. It's really, really fascinating. And all we're kind of asking as coaches and mentors is to be open-minded to, what if that thought or belief isn't true? Like that's really all we can ask, is just keeping that open mind of, what if that's not true? Or what if I try the opposite of that? Or what if I try something different and see if I get a different result? Because really, it's like, if we keep repeating the same stories and beliefs and habits and eating patterns, we're going to keep seeing the same results. And sometimes that result is the yo-yo effect, whether that's yo-yoing in consciousness or yo-yoing in how our bodies are presenting. I just love it. It's just so intertwined. And I think what we're coming to in this evolution of health and wellness now in 2023 and beyond is, you cannot separate these bodies, our emotional body, our spiritual body, our physical body. They're so intertwined. And having the space and the mentorship and the guidance to infuse and support all the bodies is I feel so honored to just be in this space. Cool.
And all of that requires paying attention and learning, right? The mental body, poof, how does that all work? The emotional body, wow, how does that all work? The physical body, how does that all work? Really, like a protein drink right after a workout is really important. And maybe I was eating protein, but that's actually not as effective. Like, learning these little nuances is tremendous. You were speaking, Lisa, just we're looking at foundations, right? Foundational truths, foundations of nutrition, foundations of wellness, foundations of spiritual knowing. And I know that some of my stories were deeply ingrained. I'm still unpacking them. Why is it that I put a portion on my plate and something in me goes, yeah, that's not enough, and just put more on. So now that I'm weighing my food, I mean, that was a game changer completely right there. And now I'm learning, oh, this portion actually does satisfy. When I was early 20s and I was guiding river trips, I was burning a ton of calories, and I was in my early 20s. We used to go to this cafe as guides before a trip, and we'd like have our strategy meeting. We'd have breakfast. And I used to order this thing called a ratso omelet. And the ratso omelet was a 6-egg omelet with everything. And I could eat it. And, so, that's part of my conditioning. That's deep. And, and I won't be satisfied with a 4-egg omelet, or today with 2 egg whites and some spinach, right?
Yeah. It's the one thing inside of this as well, and I almost have questions, because for you, Chess, you're coming from like a very, your awareness and witnessing of consciousness has almost been, from what I understand and feel from you so far, has almost been like readily integrated with you being a physically active person anyways. And you already having this, this desire to want to nourish with whole foods. And I didn't like, you have a recipe, like YouTube, like that you have. And I was like, oh my gosh, Chess has been doing this like healthy cooking for a long time. But just having these new pieces are a whole different thing. But what I really wanted to acknowledge and even highlight is, in my experience with working with different practitioners who are guides for energy or spirituality or any of these modalities that's a little bit more in the subtle energy fields, I've found that very few of them seem to be caring for their physical form in the same way that they place attention in the subtle body form. And it was always so strangely confusing to me, because I felt that in order for us to, I actually had a story, I'm actually realizing this story in this moment. I had a story that said, in order for us to be connected to the subtle field, we have to have a sound physical vessel, which was actually not the case. Well, that's really interesting, actually, because I've found that some people who are actually not physically grounded have an easier time connecting. Oh, interesting. Okay, my brain just went on a different track right there, which was fun. But I think the previous story was that I was just kind of confused on where we have these beautiful practitioners of this spiritual and subtle body realms, and yet they have some serious health conditions. And that a lot of them that I've met have, have diabetes, or some of them are even in wheelchairs, or they've had intense injury and don't know how to rehabilitate their physical form, thus limiting them from being able to be in the world and share their gifts in the same capacity, because their physical they haven't gone through the study of the physical yet.
Yeah. Can I share my personal experience in that?
Yes. Please.
Part of the reason that my weight really started to increase was because the ego body was so much less in control and dominating. And so I stopped being motivated so much with, I got to stay fit to look good to the world. When I started to allow that my essential nature of being was that was the most beautiful truth of me, then the physical body was less, I wasn't keeping it in shape for the purpose of being loved, the purpose of being accepted. Now, the beauty of it was that it was actually beneficial to hit that place where I could look in the mirror and go, you know what, this is okay. I'm still okay. Like, I'm still, because I'm rested in love now. That's I'll come back to that in a second, that value of resting in love, so that we can meet ourselves in all parts of our journey, and that they're all okay. We can love ourselves and not shame ourselves so much. So I stopped shaming myself for being out of shape. But then my vitality was starting to wane, and that's when they got my attention, because I'm looking ahead in my life and all the work and opportunity and playfulness with an awakened consciousness that I want to explore and know and experience. I went, oh, I do want to get this vehicle into more of a state of purity. I've got purity of spirit really moving through, and I want it to be a whole pure experience. So I think maybe that's part of why some, and including myself, when we're opening into and just a state of allowing, then it's like, okay, and so I'm getting fat. Okay. I don't have to panic about that. But then to come back into saying, all right, so I'm now doing it for a different reason, not to be loved and accepted. I'm doing it simply because I want to feel the most alive in my body.
Yeah, absolutely. I very much appreciate that. And with that, there's the concept of intentionality, coming back into what's driving us to be integrating into the things that we are. And what our conversations have been about as well is it's consistently like, know thyself, just every other time, just reversing and going here, just like whenever we're like, oh, but what do they think? Or, whenever it's turned out, it's just and back, which has been so cool. And I can absolutely see that would be part of the process at some point. It's funny, the part of the process that I think I've experienced or feel that I've experienced in that kind of awakening is going, well, shit, if I'm not this, then might as well just like do different stuff with this and see what happens, like might as well like sometimes have braids, sometimes have blonde hair, like create an avatar that looks weird and see how it feels when people respond and go, wow, that was weird,
Yeah.
So
you have no fear of changing the story ever. Like Shannon is a total chameleon. She's like, I don't like that. That's changing. It's just so fun.
Yeah, because underneath it,
like a game.
Yeah, but I love, thank you for that, because that's such a cool, like, well, also thank you for that reflection, Lisa, and then Jess, thank you for that. Just your personal experience of like, almost like just going, okay, well, I guess we're going to feel what it just feels like to be that essential nature. And it's not about what the outside is reflecting back to me. It's about me being this. And then moving through the experience of that. And then on the other side going, maybe a little too far. Okay, we're going to bring it back a little bit. And like, I want to experience something else in this physical form now so that I'm able to move everything else in. It's awesome.
Yeah. Exactly. And that we don't lose the essential truth of our being, no matter what costume we're wearing, no matter what character we're playing, what role we're playing. Those are all transient. They come, they go, they arise, they pass. And the essential nature of our being is unmoving. It is not diminished. It's never diminished. It's just the in this teaching, in this work, it is the absolute unconditional loving awareness within which all manner of our feelings and emotions and thoughts and characters and roles come and go and arise and pass, and like you say, then we can play with it. That's Lisa, you're talking about, now you can play. You're free to play, because what if I tried this character and it doesn't go so well? Okay, that doesn't actually say anything about me. I am the pure I am is still love. Rudyard Kipling, who wrote the Jungle Book, he also wrote a beautiful poem called If. And one of the lines is, if we can meet both our triumphs and disasters and treat them both as the imposters that they are. They do not define as our whole dimensionality, as our spiritual essential nature does not change regardless of triumphs and disasters, or 120 pounds or 180 pounds. But if we want to feel alive in our body, then we might want to make some choices just for ourselves, just to feel more alive in our body, but not to be loved, not to be accepted. Not for that reason.
It's so beautiful.
It's liberation. It's total liberation. Yeah.
Chess, I would love to hear more and share with our audience just a little bit more about your background, what you do, and then also in your kind of community right now, what that study looks like, through your modality. Oh,
I love that. Thank you. I'll kind of start at the end there. The what that looks like in with my community and the studies is what I call 3 conversations. It's just I often call it stay in the conversation. Just stay in the conversation. And the 3 conversations are: who are you really? That's the awakening. That's spiritual awakening as your essential nature embodied. And that typically takes about 5 to 10 years to really embody and rest as, where it's not just a concept or something you try and lose, but you're just rested as that. So that's one conversation, is the studies of who are you truly, transcendent of this mind, body, ego experience. The second conversation is, and what is your conditioning? So this is now personal development. That first conversation is spiritual awakening. The second conversation is personal development, personal awareness. What are your stories? What's your conditioning? What's your programming? How does it play? How does it get in the way? How does your ego mind convince you that you don't need the spiritual stuff? No, you just got to have better thoughts. You just got, so to understand the personal dynamic of the character.
Mm.
And the third conversation is, and are we paying attention to how we are creating our lives so that there's room for and nourishment for those first two conversations? So are we paying attention to the quality and nature of our relationships, of our home, of our diet, of our nutrition, of our fitness, of our creativity, of our work? Like to look at our lives in all these different ways and say, really, how can I create a life that allows me to really have these first two conversations, which is all about know thyself. So that's the structure, or if you will, of the container for these studies.
I love that.
Mm-hmm.
I came to this work because I was a mess. I was just an emotional mess. Most of my life, I had a really powerful and strong conditioning of just not ever feeling worthy enough of being loved. I didn't trust that I could truly be loved. And so the story was, if I ever make a misstep or a mistake, love will be withdrawn. So an extraordinary amount of effort going to try to be the most right and okay and guy I could be, and never to have inadequacies. Don't ever, and if I got them, certainly don't show them and don't share them. Well, as you can imagine, that just created all manner of walls and distancing.
Mm-hmm.
And I started to do personal development work. I just got to a point probably around 40, 45, where I did my first retreat, my first weekend retreat, a silent retreat that pointed me to, personal development. And why do you feel this way? Where do you think this stuff came from? Tell me about your mom. Tell me about your dad. Tell me about your childhood. I'm like, why? What does that have to do with anything? I mean, I was that daft on all of this. But that started the journey, and I really, really started doing a lot of personal development. I even worked with a group for a number of years, about 5 years. There was a group of us that would get together 3 or 4 times a year, and usually involving psychedelic substance, that we would really go on these journeys and pierce the veil of story. And it was valuable and beneficial, but there was no spirituality in it, which was kind of odd. It was all about recognizing, where our stuff came from and how to try to let go of it. Valuable work, and it made a difference. But I did get to a point where I was going, I keep hitting a ceiling. What is it? Why can't I really be at peace? Why can't I just have stable peace? Like, how long will it take? What do I have to, I think I've looked at all my stories, or the big one. And I started to find teachers that were talking about non-duality and self-realization. And they were saying, yeah, but do your personal development, but you are beyond the person. And do you know what that is? Do you embody it? Do you actually feel it? And I went, I don't even know what you're talking about. And when that started to open up, then I realized, keep doing the personal development work. But if I'm really to love every part of me that it's going to arise without shaming myself, without feeling so afraid of looking at my shadow, it's going to be valuable if I'm rested as the self beyond it all. So much easier than to go back and do the personal development work and look at my shit and look at my shadow and look at my shame and look at my grief and look at my guilt, all of it, and allow it to arise into the light of love, not as a concept, but as an actual embodied state. So that's why now I do this work. Is I just recognize the personal development is so much more graceful and elegant and possible when we're coming from knowing ourself beyond it. We don't want to spiritually bypass and not do the personal development and shadow work. But my God, let's come to rest in some truth of being, so that when the stuff comes up, it doesn't just consume us with, oh my God, I can't believe that about myself. Oh, I don't want to look at that. I don't want to talk about that. I don't want to show that. And that's why Shannon and I can work so easily in this work, because when she says, I think you got a bullshit story about this, that I don't take it personally. I just go, yeah, oh yeah, there it is. Yeah, look at it.
I really, really appreciate you, Chess, describing the difference of personal development and like a more spiritual journey and resonance of, the witness perspective, because it just resonates so much with, everything that I think collectively so many people have been going through what feels like a collective awakening. And I always say for myself, it's really happened in the last 6 years. And I just really, really appreciate that perspective from you of not judging yourself as you're going through the personal development stuff, especially if you find yourself in these loops of, oh, I'm here again. No, triggered me again. And like, I've been really just recently, relatively recently, finding myself like, I'm in the witness perspective. I'm seeing myself be triggered. I'm seeing myself have these emotions. I'm seeing myself move through them. I know how to self-soothe. I know how to get my physical body, my emotional body through it. And still, I'm just like, can we speed this up? Like, I'm frustrated in the perspective of seeing myself and being like, can we just not do this anymore? Like, I don't want to be triggered ever.
Well, when we're truly in the witness perspective, there's no frustration, because the witness can't be frustrated. It's impossible. It's unwavering. It is unconditional loving awareness, truly unconditional. And this brings up an awesome point, that this is the other big thing I've learned in this work. Shannon and I were laughing about this recently. So I've learned that desperation is hugely valuable, in that it brings people to the path of physical well-being or nutrition, or like that's, I was desperate. I was like gaining weight. Like, I don't know how to do this. So I was desperate, and it brought me to the study. Mm-hmm. People will often come to this path of like, I've tried this and I've tried that for personal peace, to be stable in peace. Mm-hmm. I've tried this and I've done workshops and I'm okay for 2 weeks, and then I'm back to the old stuff. And what's going on? Desperation is powerful in that it can finally bring us to a place of saying, all right, I'm willing to do whatever it takes, because it ain't working. However, once we're in the work, the desperation has to end. Mm-hmm. It'll get us in trouble. Mm-hmm. So in the spiritual work, if I'm desperate to get through this, I'm actually going to I'm going to go back to my personal development and try to work through this stuff without the proper tools.
Yeah.
Without an embodiment of love. Mm-hmm. So we need to turn our desperation into devotion and say, I'm devoted to knowing myself fully and actually resting in my divinity, so that I can let my work take as long as it needs to take, and I can stay rested. But if we bring our desperation to our spirituality, then it's just the ego saying, I'm tired of feeling this way and I want to feel better. The ego co-opts the whole experience. So in the world of nutrition and fitness, foam roller, what value does that have? I'm in week 3, I'm looking at my app and it's saying, okay, now we're going to start strength training and go through these 3 things. And I'm going, no, that's not fast enough. I'm going to do it my way. And so I'm combining my old style of push-ups and band stuff and all this stuff, and combining with some new things I'm learning from Green Door. I've never done lunges. I've never done squats. I'm doing that. But I'm just throwing together a whole collection of of strength exercises in whatever order I just feel like doing it. As long as I'm doing strength exercises, I'm good. I was desperate to see my abs again. I was desperate to say, I am so desperate to get back into shape that I'm not going to do the program the way it's designed. I'm going to force it and go in too fast. And I got hurt. My back seized up. And
so
Shannon was beautiful. Would you be willing to try this? So I've been doing this for like 20 years. Would you be willing to? And I was. Absolutely. You know what? You're totally right. I'm all yours. I'm willing to be devoted. I'm willing to be surrendered and to take my desperation out of this and just be to my health.
And this is such a wonderful example of how we have so many crossovers. Chess and I have just been discovering all of these crossovers. And what I really want to highlight here, especially with any coach, and I kind of was speaking into this a couple of weeks ago in an Instagram session where it was about the benefit of hindsight. When you are a guide and you have walked a path and you can essentially look back and go, okay, so we're going to start here, then you're going to have a snack over here. But someone's like, I don't know a snack's coming. I'm freaking out because I'm a little hungry, or whatever it might be. Like, I don't know what's happening right here, but the guide knows exactly. And the guide is like, okay, so we know that there's going to be like a dip and everyone's going to go down this dip. They're going to get super frustrated and tired. And it's going to be hot and sweaty. And then they're going to get hungry, but they don't know a snack's coming. And this is when they're going to freak out. And so it's like, as a guide, we know what the journey looks like. And what's been so beautiful about the foundation of witnessing and awareness with you, Chess, is that, like, as we've worked together and you're like, oh, that is a story. Oh shit, I have been throwing stuff together and just in my state of desperation. And I've been like, oh my gosh, wow, you got that quickly? Like, wow, that's amazing. Like, this is so great. I'm so happy that we're having this experience. And then in the other realm, so I am both sitting in that, knowing that's what it feels like to be a guide, and also being a student with you and knowing, okay, he knows where this is going, even though there may be points along the path that I feel like I have arrived at, but by accident. Someone just dropped me there, like we had talked about. I went skydiving and I just ended up there, and I don't know how I got there. And now I'm trying to figure out how do you get to that place, or, what's the process of just this experience in total. But I think the thing I'm sharing here is the different areas of being a guide. And in that study, just like what you've been pointing to, there's such a power there. So then when you are in those moments of desperation, and when you are having a resistance that comes up, if you're working with a guide, the guide can be pretty normal, actually. So we're just going to reroute and fuel up, and whatever that means, whether it's spiritually fueling up or physically fueling up. We're going to turn on some windshield wipers and get going in our car, and you can see now, so that's helpful. Then it really does allow the experience to be that much more gentle and inviting. And I don't know, it's been such a beautiful example. And the last thing that I want to make sure that I point to is what's been fascinating to me, and Lisa, I think you're going to appreciate this as well, is we look at the process of weight loss. And the process of weight loss is an up and down spike. It's not like this straight down linear experience ever. And that's because the body is going through new equilibriums, new phases of, okay, I feel comfortable here. I feel comfortable here. I'm expanding to contract. It's an expand and contract scenario. And it feels like the same thing when you're moving into the process of almost like ego disillusionment in a way, or the process of moving into being that of the witness, being that of the awareness, being in that state of I am, it's a continual kind of like, the ego's like, yo man, and you're like, okay, yo man, and then you go down. It's just, whether it's an up or down scenario, but that's another thing. So when we're able to hold the entire cycle and to understand, if I'm here, it's okay, because I come back here. And then if I'm there, and then I go back down, And so there's this allowing of letting it arise in love, which I love that you have brought that terminology and that feeling into our conversations. When something is coming up, let it arise in the space of love, the space of I am that, it's all that there is. And what an incredible foundation of being for any life experience. Yeah. And that's what I so appreciate about the work that you're doing, because that is the space that holds everything. And you are essentially helping individuals to find their true existence, their true being, their true knowing. And as a guide and a student in collaboration with you, all I can say is that from what I've seen, it looks like it makes life 1,000% easier.
Thank you. You use the word allowing. That's it. That's it. It's and that's the liberation. Then we can meet. If we're rested as our essential nature, we don't deny any experience. Now I can feel pain, fear, frustration, loss. A relationship ends. I'm going to feel loss. I'm going to feel sadness. I'm going to feel some aloneness. I'm going to feel these things, but I don't get lost in them. We were talking about that the other day. That I used to get lost in all the experiences of life, and now all the experience of life get lost in me. They just arise and into the vast presence. And so I can allow pain to arise. I can allow frustration to arise. I can allow, loss and love and giddiness and bliss. And I don't then have to hang on to the bliss. I can let that come and go. And it's just Rupert Spira, one of my teachers, he teaches that allowing is not an activity of mind. Mm-hmm. It's not an activity of mind. It is the very nature of our being. Unconditional loving awareness is going to allow everything to know. It's like the sky allowing any weather pattern to come or go. And man, when we can rest in that and just watch our weight, do this, and the body goes, okay, I can start to release. Wait, what am I doing? Wait, hold on. I'm not sure I'm ready to quite do that yet. It's like the ego. It's the lovely parallel of the ego in a meditation going, okay, let go. Okay, I don't even exist. I'm not a thing. I'm just activity of mind. So just stop. And then there's a moment of starting to release, and there can be I remember I used to sit in meditation and just jolt, like, whoa, what the hell? Like, whoa, I don't know where I was going, So as the true self starts to arise, it's going to take the ego a little while to go, okay, I can surrender to that. And then go, but maybe not. And then after a while, it just does. Yeah.
Sign me up. Especially, what I'm hearing too, Chess, is that in terms of our practices, it really feels like you're offering a discipline, a devotional, like everyday kind of practice tools, like tangible tools that you can take and apply to cultivate and foster that connection and, live in that more conscious state. I need that. Like that is, I think it's essential. Then you're not winging it and doing DIY. You have that roadmap, you have a container, but you need those tools that you can practice and master.
Yeah, and to do so with training, right? I mean, this is exactly what you guys offer. I've got a whole section on the myths of meditation. And most people, if I ask them, do you have a meditation practice? I mean, usually the answer is, yeah, kind of. But then the next question, even if they have a fairly steady meditation practice, is why do you meditate? And often the answer is, well, to try to come back to some, a moment of peace. and then I go back into my life, and then I got to meditate to come back into some moments of peace. And a lot of the opportunity is in this training, in these modalities, and offering these structures, is what if meditation is actually your opportunity to know yourself fully? That's different than using it just to chill out for a little while and be at peace. What if your meditation is one of the tools you use to awaken your essential nature of being and embody it, to know thyself?
Mm-hmm.
And, for a lot of people, it's like, I don't even know what that would look like. So yeah, little hints about how to drop into meditation, and then inquiries. So the mind can be very active in meditation, asking questions. Who am I really? Or one of my favorite questions in the beginning of a meditation is, what if I didn't have a story? What if I was sitting here right now and I had no history? There was no chess. There was no story of chess. There was no identity, ego identity. Would I disappear? Holy shit, no, there's something would still be here. What is the essence of being without a story? So the mind can be active and inquiring and asking a question and then letting go and feeling, and then asking a question and letting go and feeling. And that's what I love about working with you, Shannon. You have this cultivated ability, and it's somewhat inherent to you anyway, but it's also been cultivated to stop and feel for truth, to feel for the essence of God, of consciousness, of beingness, because you can't actually perceive through the senses, seeing, touching, tasting, smelling, or even thinking. You can't know pure consciousness with any of those senses. But you can know God consciousness, if you will, the essential nature, through just stopping and feeling its presence. It's kind of like hunger. You can't touch it, taste it, smell it, see it, but boy, it's there. So yeah, Lisa, there are tools. There are absolutely, studies, tools, practices, different types of meditations, models. I use a lot of models to help people understand the formless. You got to kind of bring it into form sometimes with analogies and metaphors and models. They're not fully accurate, but you use them for a while to help, and then when you don't need them any longer, you let them go.
And one of the things that I really just want to share with, almost like whether your goal is to be in the space of your being more and just understand what that means to you, or if it's fitness, or if it's nutrition, or if it's finance or relationships, whatever that intentionality is, we have to be in the conversation more frequently. So if our intention is to be in the space of awareness, we need to be in the space of the conversation of awareness as well, which is why when Chess, you and I started this collaboration and working together in this cross, like infinity spiral of really lovely giving and receiving. You asked me what I was looking for, what would support me. And I just said, I want to be in the conversation more frequently. Yeah. And like anything, to be, what I've noticed more and more is what you've shared, and it's just becoming more obvious, is that we already are that. And when the conversation is more frequent, and when we're in that conversation more frequently, we're giving ourselves the opportunity to turn the view in over and over, just more regularly. And we do that in a way with nutrition. We almost point to that there's a door. We point to that there's a way of sensing something. we point to that there's something that's outside of, okay, we have the science and the logic, but really there's something that is aware of the sensation that you're experiencing. What's that? You know, and just consistently kind of moving around. And what we kind of have realized lately, Lisa and I, over the past few years, is that ultimately what we're giving individuals an opportunity to do is to know themselves through the doorway of food and how nutrition works in their body, which has been super fascinating. And I just am so grateful about this experience because it has allowed me to feel the conversation of consciousness, of awareness, moving into so many other facets in the physical realm, which I actually felt like I was getting a little stuck in, like stuck in just talking about the physical, you know, even though I knew that there was a witness that was holding, like, you know, that there was still the conversation that was kind of being woven in. I was sometimes feeling like, how long can I talk about this for? You know, like now it's been like 10, 15 years. Like, how long are we gonna? And so I was really just feeling that the awareness was just kind of expanding out, going like, yo, man, I mean, do you want to point to this real quick and like talk about the thing that's holding the space for all the other stuff? And so
and for those who need a very simple explanation of what Shannon's saying,
yes.
The grass is greener where you water it. It's where you're focused, where your attention is. So it's bringing that piece, that conversation, making it active in your life so that it's not I'll meditate once a month, or, oh, I'm going to go on a retreat every 12 weeks. That'll be my spiritual, I'll fill my spiritual cup then. Like what I'm hearing, Shannon, is you wanted that attention, and like what a gift for yourself. Like, yes, Shannon and I always talk about how important it is for coaches, like anyone who's a practitioner, to have someone hold space for you, so that you can show up more for other people. And it's such a gift to be able to, I know for us, it's like having nutrition and our bodies and our physical health, like pretty solid. It allows so much space and attention to be able to be spent on these other areas of life that are so essential and fulfilling. So like I said,
Exactly.
Sign me up, Chess.
Yeah. Conversation is different than, you know, oh yeah, I mean, because I reached out, the reason Shannon and I started doing this work is I had reached out to Shannon and said, you know this world, what is I need to know a really good green drink thing that I can do for a couple of weeks to reset my body. And it's like, and that'll be good. And then I'll be back on track. And I was looking for the short term, kind of like going on a little spiritual retreat, but then coming home and then going about your normal life with that. So I was looking for that. And she said, I got a better idea. let me actually teach you about why all this is going on within your body, in your experience. Yeah, that repetition, the analogy I use in the spiritual world is breathing on a spark. It's kind of like waking. This is why we call it awakening. You know, you don't come out of a deep dream where you've been dreaming an ego self for all these years with one, smack and go, oh, okay, all right, I'm good. No, you drift off, you wake up, you drift off. So you breathe on the spark, it turns into an ember. And then you don't go, okay, it's better than the spark, so now I can stop. No, now you fan the ember and it turns into a flame. And then you don't go, well, I got a flame now. Well, that's good enough, because if you don't pay attention to it, it's going to go back out. So now you feed the flame. And after a while, it actually turns into a sun, and it's self-illuminating. It's embodied. It's just self-fulfilling on a regular basis. I weigh my food every day. That's staying in the conversation. That's keeping me present every day to, okay, that's right. Keep paying attention, learn some more, get this ingrained. That's part of staying in the conversation.
100%. Yes. I'm very grateful. It's been awesome. And
I'm looking forward to. just I'm seeing ahead with all this education, having it become more embodied. I love the idea of living my life where it's so much more easeful to be aware of my meals, that I'm not denying myself. It's just that I'm in balance. I'm in flow. I'm paying attention. I'm saying, okay, tomorrow's my birthday. I'm probably going to have a treat tomorrow night. So let me just start to easily feel into rebalancing my morning a little bit and paying attention. And that it just becomes a natural way of eating and being and moving in the world. That's what I'm looking forward to.
Yes, you will arrive there and it will feel natural and awesome as it does, which is so good. Oh, so good. And I'm looking forward to how we will continue to collaborate, because I feel like this is only the beginning of our conversation as it kind of does the crossover, which is super, super cool. So for our listeners, Chess, where can people find you? Website?
Right here.
Online.
Online. In the divine, man. Find me in the divine. And okay. So it's very simple. It's chessedwards.com. And I've got some social media presence, but I don't really do much of that anymore. So I'm chessedwards.com, and I've got a couple of really nice offers. One of them is somebody can download what is called the 6 Foundations for Peace and Freedom. And it's a mini ebook, and it just speaks about creating this life that supports personal development and spiritual awakening, and basically speaks to those 3 conversations. And it's even got a little tool that you can use where you can, at the end of each chapter, you can assess, for this foundation, like a foundation of practice, or the foundation of patience. That's a big one. Then you can use this tool at the end of the chapter to ask questions and look and see, how am I doing in this area of patience? Where am I on that? So that's a lovely free tool people can download. And then I have a membership or a community. It's an online community called the Oasis, Nourishment for Your Soul. And it's where I upload teachings, and where we have open conversations, and where I have live calls every month. And it's to stay in the study. And the Oasis opens up about 4 times a year for about a week, onboards new people, closes down, and then opens up another 3-4 months later. But on my site, there's a place to sign up to say, when it opens up, I want to be the first to know. I also have some guided meditations there as a free gift. And I have an emotional vocabulary builder that allows us to learn more ways to know ourselves and to express ourselves to others, so that when we're in our relationships and people say, how are you? We don't go, I'm good. How are you? I'm good. Like, okay, but to use more fun words to really go in. How am I doing? I'm doing giddy. I'm feeling giddy today, or excited, or melancholy. So the emotional vocabulary builder is available there as well.
Thank you. I've loved that little tool. I'm like, ooh, wait, which one? The emotional vocabulary builder has been fun. Even just the concept of thinking about other responses outside of good, fine, I'm okay. Like going in deeply.
It's a really nice journaling tool. How am I don't know what to write in my journal today. Well, let me check in first. How am I doing? What's going on here? And really feeling into a deeper nuance and going, oh God, I'm feeling befuddled. What the heck? What's good? What's that all about? So, and I have people who use it with their kids, like at dinner. They bring it out every night before dinner. Okay, before we eat, let's go around. How are y'all doing? And everyone checks their list and finds a way to describe how they're feeling.
I love that. That's amazing.
And then wrap it up, it's I work with people where I typically start any relationship with anyone with a 2-day immersion, so that we can actually spend 2 days really reformulating every understanding of our full dynamic and our perceptions about self. It's like an initial awakening. And most people come out of that going, oh my God, like this changes everything. This understanding changes everything. But the truth is it won't last. So it's that followed up with weekly coaching sessions to stay in the conversation.
Mm-hmm. Beautiful. I love that you offer that. It feels like such a powerful just framework for that kind of experience. Anyone who's able to do that, I would say do that. If I had to choose for somebody. Thank you so much. We're really, really grateful. Lisa, is there anything else that you wanted to sign off with?
I
I'm excited.
No,
Lisa,
you go
please.
ahead. I was going to say,
well, I'm excited to introduce you guys to my community, to the community, to the Oasis, because this really helps flesh out and balance and bring so much more wisdom into the mind-body dynamic of the personal experience. And we need it. I needed it. And it's been a tremendous value to me. So I'm looking forward to introducing the community to you, to the Green Door as well.
Awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Thank you so much, Chess. And it's chessedwards.com.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, exactly.
Mm-hmm. Beautiful. Can't wait to be inside of the Oasis again, too. And we look forward to doing that. So thank you so much, Chess. Thank you, Lisa. Thank you, everyone who took the time to watch this in the moment or in the future ether moments. And we hope everyone got something out of this, some sort of insight, awareness, nutrition, all of the things. And we look forward to our next podcast session, and we will see you next time.
Blessings. Thank you.